Welcome into the 5th episode of the Havoc Show. I'm Sam Wolf, joined by my esteemed colleague Aric Wilson of the Commonwealth Times. Let's get straight into it with our usual recap. As per usual, a very interesting slate of VCU basketball, in my opinion, and a very positive slate of VCU basketball in the back half of the season. Picking up dominant wins against a very good upstart Fordham team and St. Joe's. And more exciting news, a game-winning buzzer beater from Zeb Jackson that got national attention. Check out this clip from Scott Van Pelt's Sports Center just this week.
But first, the best thing I saw today, not yet March, but never too early for some buzzer beaters in college basketball. VCU at Rhodey, Zeb Jackson, they're down one. Oh, ball game. VCU wins it at the buzzer. Don't start no stuff. Won't be no stuff. Shout out to the Peppers down there in Richmond.
Moving on from what happened to what we saw in these past few games. Aric, what do you see both good and bad in the past couple games?
Well, Sam, VCU and the Broad Street Bullies have really been finishing the season strong with 2 straight blowout wins against solid conference teams. Sam, we did see an early, ugly game versus Rhode Island where a team in the bottom of our conference gave us a run for our money and where we shot a whopping 7% from downtown. This game was not one of our best showings all year, but as you said, Zeb Jackson came to the rescue and won the game for the Black and Gold. After that, we saw the Rams have back-to-back impressive blowout wins, and I just loved how the Rams played these last 2 seasons with everyone on the lineup carrying their own weight. Overall, we had a great 2 last games, Sam.
Yeah, I think we saw both the good and bad of this VCU basketball team. Even though they won all the games that they had, that game against Rhode Island was way too close for comfort against a team that, quite frankly, should have never been in the game to begin with.
Agree.
I think we saw the team kind of revert to some bad tendencies, some bad shots, bad turnovers, etc., etc. But we did see the team play their best basketball down the stretch, which was very good to see. The dominant wins against Fordham and St. Joe's should be mentioned with some key performances. Aric, why don't you tell me about some of those key performances from a couple of guys on our team?
Yeah, Sam, we've really seen the emergence for our sophomores, Jalen Nunn and Nick Kern, just being overall superstars for the Black and Gold. Nunn scoring a breathtaking 31 points, and Nick Kern leading the Rams with elite defense and 17 points. If the Black and Gold sophomores continue to play like this, watch out, A-10.
Now let's go ahead and look forward at the next few games for the Rams with only 3 games being left in the season, Aric. The Capital City Classic today at the Stew. Then St. Louis comes to town for the second leg of the home and home, and the season finale against GW on the road. I'll say this with extreme caution. These are all winnable games for VCU. If we look at it from a game-by-game basis, the Rams won in dominant fashion against Richmond and convincing win against St. Louis, led by Ace. That makes me believe VCU can continue their winning form. Aric, what are your thoughts on the Rams' chances in these last 3?
Sam, out of all those 3 games, we have to watch out for St. Louis. St. Louis is a very dangerous team being led by Yuri Collins, who's averaging around a double-double on the year. The Black and Gold should make sure they do not get upset by Richmond tonight in the rivalry game. And also, VCU should try to not be on upset watch against GW, but I see the Rams winning both of those 2 games.
Absolutely. Aric, we did a brief segment on this a week ago about the A-10 tournament. Now we are so close to the A-10 tournament. Let's go ahead and take a look at the projected bracket. Most importantly, let's start by taking a look at the teams that have earned a bye in the first rounds. The double bye teams being VCU, Dayton, Fordham, and St. Louis, pretty standard, rounding out the top. The teams with a single bye are extremely interesting. Teams like LaSalle and Duquesne. Who would have thought Duquesne aren't playing in the first round? Who would have thunk it? Aric, what are your thoughts on the way this wacky A-10 bracket?
Yeah, Sam, we've said a lot this season. The A-10 seems like it's wide open this year. VCU has a clear path to March Madness if we just win our games. But as I said last show, it could be anyone's night in that tournament.
Now let's do something a little fun. Some of our crew here has filled out a projected bracket we showed you earlier, and now we're going to talk about it now. Our projected bracket. So to start, Aric, go ahead and take us down your trip to your projected bracket.
Well, starting out with the first round, we have Davidson and St. Joseph's and St. Bonaventure all coming out with their wins. In the second round, I see Richmond coming out upsetting LaSalle, and then we have Duquesne taking that win against Davidson, St. Joe's upsetting George Washington, and St. Bonaventure upsetting George Mason. So you might be like, hey, Aric, why do you have 2 upsets back to back? I'm telling you, trust me. So VCU will also, for the next round, VCU is going to be defeating Richmond for the 3rd time this season. It's not going to be reminiscent of last season where we lost. St. Louis will be defeating Duquesne. Dayton's going to be stopping St. Joe's magical run, along with Fordham stopping St. Bonaventure's magical run. And VCU will defeat St. Louis and advance to the final, while Dayton will squeeze past Fordham once again. In the finals, I do have it being VCU and Dayton in an overtime tough contest, but I got VCU taking it out and taking it to March Madness. Now, Sam, let's look ahead and look at your bracket.
So, in the back end, I have Davidson moving along with St. Joe's and St. Bonaventure. Then in the second round, I have Richmond beating LaSalle and Davidson making a run and moving on against Duquesne, and St. Joe's narrowly beating GW and Mason winning over the Bonnies. And finally, for our final four matchups, VCU sees Richmond for a third time this season, and of course, the Rams prevail. Then St. Louis and the underdog Davidson, we're gonna go with the Billikens here. And now the number two Dayton sees St. Joe's, and it's gonna be a bloodbath. Deron Holmes is going to be too much for that St. Joe's front court, and Dayton moves on. For the last matchup, we have in the third round, Fordham taking on number 6 George Mason. I have the Patriots moving on, and I'm predicting a Josh Oduro masterclass. Now, 4 remain, and VCU takes on St. Louis. I predict Ace once again shows who the best guard in the conference is, and the Rams move on. And for the second semifinal matchup, Mason takes on Dayton, and this matchup between all A10 guys in the front court, but Dayton just has a better team behind them, so Dayton moves on. And now for the main event, the Rams of VCU take on the Dayton Flyers for the A10 showdown. And quite frankly, these are the 2 best teams in the conference, and it should be a good show to watch. But because this is the Havoc Show, and I believe VCU will be at their best this day and shut down the Flyers, and the Rams will be the team dancing come tournament time. Now, let's go ahead and bring on our special guest, writer and producer of the show. Ty Wilson joins us for his prediction, and I will step aside.
Hey guys, as you guys know, I'm Ty Wilson. I'm the writer and producer of this show, and it's an honor to be able to come on to this show and tell you guys my pick for the A10 tournament. As you guys know, this year has been a weird year for A10 basketball, with teams like Duquesne, GW, and LaSalle having top 10 seeds. This year's tournament will be one to pay attention to, very close attention to. But I have to agree with you, Sam. In the first round, I see Davidson getting past UMass. I also agree that St. Joe's will get past Loyola as well. The Ramblers are new to the conference, and they just don't have the experience to get past the Hawks. But we know Loyola has a tendency to make it past expectations. I still don't think they will, though. The St. Bonaventure Bonnies will make it past the first round and are definitely a team to watch out for as a sleeper pick. They have wins over our beloved Black and Gold and the Flyers as well. So they will be a team to watch. However, in the second round, I think Oduro and the Patriots will prevail against the Bonnies due to his dominance. Richmond will move past LaSalle, and Davidson will continue their run past Duquesne. I also think St. Joe's will surpass the Colonials as long as they prevent them from getting hot to begin the game. In the quarterfinals, the Richmond rivalry will see the final arc for this year between VCU and Richmond, and I think VCU's Havoc defense will be too much for the Spiders. Davidson's playoff run will come to an end against St. Louis, as well as Dayton should be able to cruise past St. Joe, and Fordham should beat George Mason. In the Final Four, VCU shall face St. Louis, and I believe VCU has St. Louis's number this year and will continue to the finals. Dayton should beat Fordham with a monster game from their bigs, Deron Holmes and Termini Kamara. In the finals, it'll be a return of the top 2 seeds in the conference, who ended the season 1-1 against each other. However, I think this will be a very fast-paced knockout game, but I believe the Havoc defense will create too many turnovers for them to lose, and I have VCU as your 2023 Atlantic 10 champions.
So we want to thank Ty for coming on the show. Fantastic read, Ty. Good work. But that is all we have for you today on the Havoc Show. We will be back hopefully in 2 weeks, not with a season recap, but a March Madness recap.
Hopefully.
Thank you for tuning in.